Ladies and gentlemen, Bula! Bula isn't just a greeting in Fiji. It is a term of endearment. It means we wish you good health, happiness and peace. So once again, from your Fiji Airways family and from Fiji, Bula! Bula! I'm delighted to be here tonight as we welcome Vancouver, Canada into Fiji Airways' global network of destinations. Fiji Airways is committed to keep growing its global footprint and to bring all our friends to Fiji. We've been absolutely overwhelmed with the enthusiasm and excitement since we announced this direct service of ours commencing on the 25th of November from Vancouver to Nandi return. In fact, the overwhelming welcome we had at the airport this morning was just astounding. I don't think we expected anything like it. So thank you, it was great. This direct service from Fiji to Vancouver will become an important bridge spanning across vast and diverse Pacific regions. Will connect strangers that will become friends. It will connect businesses that will become partners through trade and other enterprises. Importantly, it will better connect the Fijian and Canadian governments, and as well, it will reconnect families that have been separated by hemispheres. Canada has been for a long time home to many members of the Fijian diaspora community. There are approximately around 80,000 people in Canada who trace their roots back to Fiji. This is now your fastest way to get to our islands. The days of making and paying your way through the California coast, San Francisco or Los Angeles are over. To start with, and I say to start with because obviously our ambition is to go with much more flights. To start with, on Mondays and Fridays you can take a 10 and a bit hour flight direct from this airport in Vancouver and wake up in Fiji for breakfast. I always tell people, what can you do better than wake up in paradise for breakfast? When we first announced this route in Fiji a month ago, I spoke of the journey that Fiji Airways has been through during the COVID-19 pandemic, where we dropped from near zero international passengers to record-breaking numbers today, which I'll talk about a bit later on. But before we opened on 1 December, we went through a very difficult 2 years where we worked on surviving. And the important thing of that survival journey is the thriving we're doing today. And we are going through what I call a Bula boom in Fiji tourism. So we're very proud of where we are today. As a small national airline, we compete against Goliath, but we love the challenge. We have an inbuilt grit, and I describe that grit as passion, adaptability and resilience. And we showed this in many ways during the COVID pandemic. Today, Fiji Airways boasts a modernized aircraft fleet, one of the youngest in the world. And I'll mention a few of the types. We start with our 2 Airbus A350-900 XWBs, which are recognized as the most advanced aircraft in the world. We then have 4 Airbus A330s that are young and still very efficient. We have 5 Boeing MAX 8s, which are new generation aircraft. We have 4 Viking Twin Otters that connect our islands, that are also state-of-the-art new generation. And then our ATRs, the 272-600s and the 42. We've also invested in a state-of-the-art integrated aviation academy with 2 full-flight simulators. The norm says a small island country with a small airline shouldn't have an integrated aviation academy, but we have it. It has enabled us during COVID to stay alive. We kept our pilots training throughout, and we were ready to start on 1 December with an efficient airline. This aviation academy will also help us enormously going forward to ensure that we Fijianize more of our pilots and reduce the dependence we have at times on foreign contract pilots. 6 years ago, we implemented the Ron Kaufman Up Your Service program. This is a service culture training program which we've been living throughout the 6 years with regular refreshers. It's all about service quality. And I think we've demonstrated in many ways over the past years the enormous influence this program has had. We achieved in 2017 the Skytrax and Apex 4-star rating, which put us in the same camp as some of the big names in aviation like Emirates, Lufthansa, British Airways. We also won many awards. We've won the best airline staff in the South Pacific, the top 20 world's best airline crew, and the most improved airline, the fourth most improved airline in 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, I thought I'd share a little bit more about Fiji Airways because many of you, it's the first time you've heard me talk about it. Most of us in this room faced the daunting challenges that COVID created for us. We were no different. Overnight, our revenue fell from 1 billion to 0. It led us in a very difficult period, and we needed to do a lot of hard work to get through it. But we didn't surrender. We came up with a strong strategic recovery plan, and we did many positive things that have brought us to where we are today. I want to just mention a few of the key features and achievements. The first is, without any doubt, one of the most important features of this recovery was the support we got from the government of Fiji. We received sovereign debt guarantees of nearly 700 million that have enabled us to obtain the financing we required to get through the COVID pandemic. Our customer experience team worked on programs, one of them called the Travel Ready program, where we had hospital standard health and safety measures for check-in, boarding, flying and deplaning. We employed medically qualified wellness champions who were present on the ground and on every flight. And for this amazing work, we achieved 2 huge recognitions. The Apex Simplifying highest diamond hospital grade safety rating for airlines, and the Skytrax coveted 5-star COVID safety rating. So even today, when you fly us, we're still following many of these important protocols. Our commercial team collaborated with the hoteliers, creating enticing full board and half board holiday packages. Here again, we are grateful to the government of Fiji for the 40 million recovery package they gave us that allowed us to take the first 100,000 holiday packages for travelers. These are 100,000 travelers, and government supported it with $400 per traveler. That enabled us to reduce the pricing of the hotel accommodation and the airfare by close to 50%. And this is what created the huge impetus when we opened on 1 December to drive the demand that we're still experiencing today. We took 1/3 of our staff and called them our revamp team. And we worked on every bit of infrastructure that normal during times you couldn't repair or redo. And today we have 65 major infrastructure improvements in the business, which include things like a new revenue management system, new accounting system for revenue accounting, a new fuel management system, Skybreathe, a new cargo system, and so on, all to make our airline even more efficient. Someone asked me the other day and said, surely COVID has resulted in business transforming their way to do business in the future, and that's exactly what we've done. I believe we have taken those steps. And lastly, our customer experience team continues to strive for perfection. And the tremendous work that is currently being done by our executive chef, Richard Cross, he's a celebrity chef for those of you that know Fiji well. We've just received in June 22 the Apex Award for the best food and beverage in the South Pacific. So another major achievement. All these innovations that we did during COVID meant that when we opened our borders on 1 December, we had very few hiccups. And I think many of you today are reading in the press the hiccups that are going on with airlines around the world. And I can fortunately say the efforts we're putting to ensure that we were ready to start on 1 December and that we covered all the areas of the business and ensured throughout that we could thrive have paid off. So I'd like to just give you some statistics on what our bookings look like. These are people who have booked and have paid and will travel between today and the end of in a 12-month period. So starting from August going forward 12 months. Our overall bookings we hold on hand today are 400,533 travelers who have booked and paid, compared to 370,000 for the same period in 2019. That's 8% better. Australia is the champion part of that. Australia's got 187,000 passengers versus 148,000, 26% better. North America, a little bit behind. North America is sitting at 94,000 versus 98,000, so it's 3% behind. And New Zealand is 83,000 versus 77,000, that is 8% ahead. And here's the really best part of it. Every week, our bookings keep growing by 6%. So 6%, 6%. And we're very excited with the benefit we're seeing. And now adding Vancouver, the 6% is going to go up. And there's no question it's going to go up another few percent. So Canada is a very important market for us. We were working on this as a growth strategy way before COVID coming into the picture. And where we could have started a little earlier, we're here today, so as they say, better late than never. And for our Fijian diaspora, wow, it's going to be great to see you in Fiji. And for our tourism customers, well, Fiji is still the best place to go on holiday. There's no question about it. So ladies and gentlemen, our brand promise, not only Fiji Airways but country Fiji, is to offer you a world-class experience. A world-class in-flight experience, enjoy our amazing cabin, our crew, our modern fleet, and for the hotels, an amazing experience. Our Fijian hospitality will absolutely amaze you from the moment you step on board and the moment you step out of the aircraft in Fiji. With this, I invite you and welcome you to our home in Fiji. Bula, thank you.
Bula. I learned an important term today. I'm going to be using this everywhere. I might not get the same response, but thank you so much for that kind introduction. I do want to start off by recognizing and thanking our Indigenous elders that were here. And I want to recognize that we're on the traditional territory of the Coast Salish people, in particular the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples. I want to recognize and raise my hands to the elders who spoke earlier. They highlighted some of the injustices that they've faced, and I think what we're really proud of here in British Columbia is that in order for any society to have reconciliation, they must have some truth, and I appreciate them sharing a small bit of truth in today's opening ceremony with us, and thank them for allowing us to be here on their traditional territory. So please give them a round of applause. Of course, I want to thank our friends at YVR, the government of Fiji, and of course Fiji Airways for hosting us today for this fantastic event. This is just absolutely beautiful setup, and I was a little intimidated when I walked in, but they told me that the people welcoming us in are not as scary as sometimes that they project themselves to be. But it's so great to see so many people here, new friends and many friends that we've known each other for a long time. I do want to recognize one of my colleagues that's joining me here today, Minister of Labor, Harry Baines, also the MLA for Surrey Newton. A good friend of Fiji. And of course, I want to recognize Minister Khaiyum, I was just amazed. I was saying to him, how does he have the energy? The minister is the Attorney-General, Minister of Economy, Civil Service and Communications, and responsible for climate change. It's quite the remarkable portfolio, and I have to get some tips on how he manages to handle all those important files. But we welcome you here to British Columbia, Minister. Thank you. Of course, I also want to recognize Andre and for his remarkable news that he shared. Not only that we have this brand new direct airline that's going to be traveling, taking commuters directly to Fiji within 10 hours. I'm looking forward to taking advantage of this flight myself, but also the remarkable recovery that the airline has seen, and obviously with partnership with the government of Fiji. I want to recognize a few other people that are here. Of course, we have the Ambassador Prasad, who's here, who is stationed in the United States. We welcome him to Vancouver, and certainly hope he makes himself more comfortable here. Thank you. And of course, Brent Hale, Chief Executive of Tourism Fiji, and Bob Necker, who's the Honorary Consul General for Fiji here in Vancouver. So thank you very much as well. This is clearly a big day for Fiji Airways. It's a big day for YVR. It's a big day for British Columbia. And I know there's a party to have, and so I will keep my remarks short. But there's a couple of things I think that around the pandemic that are important for everyone around the world. Firstly, I think all jurisdictions have become closer than they've ever been, given the challenges that we've all faced. But certainly what we're seeing now, and what this announcement is an important signal for, is all jurisdictions are starting to manufacture closer to home and trying to do things closer to home, have their people visit closer to home. But within a year or two, that is going to shift back. And what it's going to shift to is more into partnerships with jurisdictions that have similar values, that have similar goals. They want to address climate change. They want to see gender equity. They want to see all the important things that we here in British Columbia want to see. And that's what the consumers are starting to see as well. Consumers want to go to jurisdictions where those things are respected. And I think the natural partnership of this between Fiji and British Columbia with today's announcement is only going to bloom from this moment on. But I think more importantly, I think it's the trade opportunities that we're going to see from this. And I see my friend Anita here from Surrey Board of Trade, and Indra as strong champions on strengthening the partnership between Fiji and British Columbia. I see so many business leaders here. I think the true challenge for us will be to capitalize on this announcement today and strengthen those relationships and strengthen those opportunities to have more trade between our jurisdictions. So with that, I do want to say congratulations. Thank you for this announcement. It's big news for everyone. It's something the community's been calling for here for a long time. Congratulations to the community. This is your victory. And so please give everybody a round of applause. And with that, I want to say thank you for inviting us today, and I look forward to seeing how smooth that 10-hour flight will be very soon. So thank you very much. Cheers.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I definitely, as Edwin said, I won't be very long, but I'd like to acknowledge the honourable ministers, Canadian ministers who are here, our ambassador to USA and Canada, Sayed-Khaiyum Prasad, is based in New York, our honorary consuls, Bobby Niker, and we've got also Jay Singh from San Francisco, and Andre, of course, and the vote dancers who are with us, ladies and gentlemen. Please put your hands together for vote dancers. We have recently, just to put into perspective, 70% of the Fijian population is below the age of 40. 65% of the population is below the age of 35. A very young population. We are encouraging our young students, would-be students. We have free education in Fiji. We offer tertiary scholarships, tertiary education loan scheme. The Fijian diaspora who are here, many of them have been here for a number of decades. We can tell you that we never had those things in Fiji. And we are investing a lot in our people. My only problem is whenever I see the vote dancers, I always reminisce about how my six-pack used to look like. And no longer does look that way. But we invest a lot in our young people, and the rebouncing of the tourism sector, as Andre has highlighted, means a lot to our country. 40% of our GDP is dependent on the tourism sector. We had over 110,000 Fijians who immediately became unemployed because of COVID. We rolled out the biggest unemployment benefit scheme in over a period of about 18 months. Cost us over $500 million, which is a lot of money for a small country like Fiji. So the reopening of the borders, Fiji Airways being able to stay on its feet with government assistance is critically important for us. And I think it's a huge endorsement of what Andre and his team have done. When we had 0 tourists, we've suddenly come out of a period where we had, last year only in March, we had about 7,000 to 8,000 COVID cases for a small country that's quite large. And by December of last year, we were one of the most highly rated vaccinated countries in the developing world. 94% of our adult population are vaccinated. We were able to open our borders by the 1st of December. Andre's team won several awards, and here we are today. So my only request to you is please send more Canadians than the Americans. Very important. Very important to beat the Americans. Apart from sending the tourists, of course, there's enormous trade opportunities. Enormous opportunities in freight. Fiji has now slowly become a transshipment hub in respect of freight. So people are sending goods to Fiji from where it gets shipped off to Australia or New Zealand, or indeed it can even get sent off to Singapore. We fly to every continent that rims the Pacific Ocean except South America. That's our footprint. We fly to San Francisco, we fly to LA, we'll soon be flying to Vancouver, we fly to Narita. Currently we're not flying to Hong Kong, but when it opens up we'll fly to Hong Kong, we fly to Singapore, the eastern seaboard of Australia, and now Adelaide, and of course to New Zealand. And we connect many Pacific Island countries to the rest of the world. The Fiji Airways subsidiary Fiji Link did not exist. Many of the Pacific Island countries won't be able to get out of their own countries. So Fiji has a huge responsibility. And as an island nation state, it's critically important for us as a government to ensure that our national carrier keeps its nose above water. Indeed, it's not just keeping its nose above water, but it's flying above the water. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your presence. I was completely overwhelmed by the Fijian diaspora who are here. Thank you very much for your welcome. It's great to see people who have left Fiji but still hold a huge piece of Fiji in their hearts. And we like that level of connectivity. Fiji has, of course, in recent times, opened up citizenship. We allow former Fijians to regain the citizenship unless they've done something really naughty, just for a very small fee. In fact, we allow multiple citizenship now. We've liberalized the economy. We have a very young population base, as I said, a lot of opportunities. And the world is really oyster in Fiji. One last point I'd like to make, we're very much into the climate change space. We've had 14 cyclones since 2016. We had a cyclone in 2016 that wiped off 1/3 of the value of our GDP in 36 hours. Notwithstanding that, we've rebounded. Notwithstanding the 13 cyclones thereafter, we've actually rebounded. We're building resilience in our infrastructure. It's therefore critically important for us to be able to ensure that our economy remains buoyant, remains very vibrant, our people have opportunities so we can not only meet their day-to-day needs, create employment opportunities, but also to be able to build resilience in our infrastructure. We don't want to put electrical poles 3 times in a year during the cyclone season. We also have very high standards as far as environmental standards are concerned. We have been very much leaders in the COP space, as you know, the annual event. And we've done a number of remarkable things. Our Prime Minister is leading the charge. In particular, our huge focus now is on developing the nexus between oceans and climate change. Oceans is the largest carbon sink in the world. We have to protect our oceans. Fiji Airways, of course, every time a plane flies off anywhere in the world or flies off from Fiji, they plant a tree. We have a project to plant 30 million trees by 2030, and we're very much there in that respect. So you will be coming to a country where we have a lot of high standard quality adherence to the environment, high standard quality adherence to looking after our people, high standard quality adherence in building strong infrastructure. And it's you, by sending tourists from this country, sending a beautiful Canadian dollars to Fiji, that you will help our Fijian economy. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I'd also like to acknowledge my apologies. I did not acknowledge the traditional elders who are here. We recognize what they've been through. Of course, there are many parts of the world that indigenous people have experienced that. Fiji, of course, is at a completely different indigenous experience. Nonetheless, we still empathize and we acknowledge what has happened throughout the world. And it is through storytelling that, of course, you will learn many things about Fiji in itself. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your precious time. and I wish you a good evening. Naka. Thank you.